Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is very first episode of our podcast called State of Quake. My name is Slip.
And my name is Unkind.
This is our very first episode, so if we don't do it right, if we mess it up, sorry about that. You know, we're learning. We're hoping it's not as bad as it sounds to us right now.
But we're doing it.
And yes, we are doing it.
So why are we doing a podcast?
We're doing a podcast. Well, for one, I always wanted to do one. There is no and secondly, there's no podcast about Quake, and there needs to be one because it's a very awesome game.
I agree.
And so, why are you doing this podcast with me?
I've also wanted to do a podcast. Like several of my friends and colleagues, they've ventured into the world of podcasting, and I've always wanted to do one. And I'm passionate enough about Quake in general to talk about it. So I'm excited to see where this takes us.
Same here. I'm hoping this lasts, and I'm hoping we have several more episodes in the future. If not, well, I guess we had fun doing the few that we did do. And just to inform everyone about the podcast, it will not just be about Quake. We will try to throw other games, and we might throw in like game-related news, like if a company goes out of business or some big new games coming out that maybe a lot of people might be interested in. We'll talk about that as well. So just stay tuned with us, and hopefully we'll cover other topics that maybe people might find interesting.
Yeah. So I guess for this first episode, we're gonna focus a bit on our past. So what brought us to Quake Champions, the present state of the game, and what we're looking forward to in the future of this game.
Basically, we're waiting for Zero to be added to Quake Champions.
Yeah, we got so many different Quakes, so many good Quakes, and I hope this game stays alive and kicking. I think it's an incredible game, and this here we go.
First episode
jitters, uncut. This is uncut, folks. I'm stumbling over my words here. What I meant to say was, the more people we can get into this game, the better. It's an awesome game. So I guess just to kick off, what led us to the game. To give a little bit more background, I guess, about us. Where are you from?
I am from North Carolina.
Have you always lived in that state?
Yes, I was born and raised here for the past 27 years. So yes, I am 27 years old.
Nice. I got a very similar story, but I got almost 10 years on you. I'm born and raised in Chicago, all around the Chicagoland area. And I am 36 years old. So you're going to see a different perspective between the two of us. I think the history of, my gaming and first-person shooters, starts a bit earlier than Slip's. Like for me, the very first-person shooter that I played was Wolfenstein 3D. Did you ever play that?
Yeah, I did play that, but very later on down the road, probably after you played it.
Oh, okay. So I have very fond memories of Wolfenstein 3D. The very first time I played it, I was like, man, this is crazy. Like the whole first-person shooter and just the whole dynamic of a 3D game in its era and its time. I remember actually going to pay $5 to get the shareware disc at Radio Shack and putting that disc into that 3.5-inch disc into the computer, and it was game over from there. I was hooked.
And now that shows our age gap because I don't know what the hell shareware is, and I don't ever recall playing any games on a floppy disk.
That's hilarious. But yeah, moving on from Wolfenstein 3D, 'cause that wasn't really online. I'm a avid follower, I guess, of all of id Software's games. So after Wolfenstein 3D, obviously they came out with Doom and Doom 2. Did you play any of that?
Yeah, I did play the Doom and Doom 2. I never got to play the online feature, but I do remember playing a lot of Doom and Duke Nukem back in that time. 'Cause I think, if
So,
I'm not mistaken, Duke Nukem was owned by id at the time, was it?
I'm not. I'm not going to quote you on that one. I can't. I might have to do a little bit of fact checking, but we'll let it slide for now. But I guess with Doom and Doom 2, that's when I first started playing online. I'm going to start mentioning some acronyms that that probably precede you again. Do you know what a BBS is?
No, sir.
So this is before like America Online and all that stuff, but like it was basically you use a modem. And I specifically remember, upgrading to a 9600 baud modem so that I could play Doom 2 over the phone lines against other people. And I think there was like a maximum of 4 people who could play at the time. But it was incredible. Like just being able to play deathmatch against other people and see how much better people could be in a game, and it just pushed you to be more competitive.
See, in contrast, my first online experience was with Xbox Live when that first came out, and at the time it was with cable or DSL rather, DSL. So yeah, I think mine and your online experience differed in quite a bit. What?
So did you start off with console, obviously?
Yeah, at the time I didn't take. I was all about consoles because I owned pretty much everything from the Super Nintendo all the way up until all the way up till now. I still like to play a console once in a while. So PC for me back in the day was more about. I started out with like AOL Online, obviously, with the free discs that people used to give out.
Oh
And
yeah, you could find them. You would get so many of them, you just start using them as coasters, and I don't know, they were everywhere.
yeah, pretty much never had to pay for it because you always had a free trial on a disc. And so for me, PC at the time was just about, oh, I'm gonna get on here, let me chat with people, let me look up things, let me email, let me IM, things like that. I didn't really look at it as a gaming device as because I was so caught up in the console at the
You were
time.
missing out. You were missing out, man. So like with Doom and Doom 2, like I got so into it that like a close friend of mine, we actually, I don't know if you're familiar with like the mods back in that era, but you could basically create your own maps and replace the sprites inside of the game, and come up with like a custom version um, of the game. And ours, we had a series called Paradigm, Paradim, and Paradigm 2, and we spent like literally almost like 6 months um, over the summer. Like we spent the entire summer customizing the game and came up with like a campaign and all sorts of stuff. It was mostly like a compilation mod, and we came up with like custom gun skins and player models and stuff like that. But it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's kind of over my head there. Because back
we'll,
then,
we can move on from that.
back
let's,
then,
let's
at
start
the
to.
time, for me, it was all about. Uh, Let me see. As far as first-person shooters go, I had to say it, but I mean, Halo was a big part of my introduction into trying to play more competitively and get better at first-person shooters. I played quite a bit of Rainbow Six as well. What else did I play? Um,
Did you play anything seriously outside of first person shooter? Because I can also throw down in fighting games.
I wasn't too shabby at Street Fighter. I
Okay.
was all right. A little bit of Hadouken, but I did play a lot of racing games competitively, like Gran Turismo and Forza. Uh, I can't remember what the game was that was called for Xbox. It was like Xbox's version of Gran Turismo before Forza. I don't remember the name of the game at the top of my head right now, but I've always had a passion for cars, so naturally I'm drawn to racing games as well. Because I haven't really played much racing games these days.
Yeah, I also have a passion for racing games, but can't say that I've gone to the competitive level. I really enjoy fighting games. The one of my favorite fighting game franchises of all time is Killer Instinct
Yep, I remember that.
and Mortal Kombat, obviously.
Oh, yeah, everybody should know that.
Yeah. So let's start bringing it back to Quake a little bit here. So, what was the first Quake that you played? Did you play any Quake or Quake 2?
I actually started in Quake 3. I kind of skipped the Quake 2 era because, like I said, at the time I was more on the consoles. Even though I do know that Quake and Quake 2 had released like on PlayStation, say I think the Dreamcast. I think the 64 also had Quake and Quake 2.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah, you mentioned 64. Did you play any GoldenEye?
yes, I did play some GoldenEye.
Yeah,
I did play.
that
Yeah,
that definitely holds a special place in my heart.
because I could go back and play it now because to me it's such a the mechanics were just compared to nowadays. Like I just can't do that anymore.
But for the time, like having four people all sitting on the couch, like looking at each other's screens with Odd Job playing a Golden Gun, that was some good stuff.
For me, it was more of let's just play either Mario Party or Mario Kart because a lot of friendships and relationships broke up because of those two games because they were very vile back in those days. People hated
Okay.
you in those two games a lot on the
Yeah.
64. Uh,
So
but
I
yeah,
guess as far as like the early Quakes go, I played a bit of Quake and Quake 2 mostly locally. There were a couple of kids in our neighborhood that had good enough computers to host like LAN parties, and we would trade off bringing each other's computers to each other's houses and basically play the game with each other, free for all. And I guess that brings us to Quake 3.
welcome to
Uh,
Quake 3 Arena.
that
I've heard that
had
saying
like
so many times.
yeah, that announcer's voice is like forever ingrained in my soul.
Yes, it is. And I just remember, actually, I started about 2003,
Okay.
somewhere in that area. My uncle, he played Quake on the Sega Dreamcast. That's where he started his Quake 3 career. He actually had the little adapter where the Dreamcast could use a keyboard and a mouse.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, they were the first. I think they were the first console to do that. I might be mistaken, but I think they were. And so I don't know. I can't remember exactly the situation of like, hey man, you ought to try Quake. I don't know what brought it about, but he said, okay, download this game. Like, okay. He's like, okay, download this mod. And I played Excessive Plus off the bat. I never even played base Quake.
Huh.
I kind of got thrown in, and it was definitely different. And I
So
immediately had to buy a new mouse because the old ball mouse I had at the time, I was like, yeah, I got to get an optical mouse.
I was probably still playing on a ball mouse. So for me with Quake 3 Arena, I started probably right after it was released, sometime in '99. And I probably played casually for a few years. Didn't really take it too seriously. Just you know deathmatch on the Chicago servers. There were a couple of servers that I played on, Area 51 and CROM. Do you remember any of the servers that you actually played on?
Actually, I pretty much almost played exclusively one server because it was like the most populated NA server at the time. It was called Dex Frag House. It was DEX.
Yep, I think I've played there before.
And So I pretty much I played for about a week. It took me a week to get good, or well, better at the game. And ever since that point, I was playing this game probably minimum 8 hours a day, maximum. Like on the weekends, I would start playing at 6 o'clock in the evening, and I would still be awake at probably 12 o'clock the next day, like 12 o'clock p.m. lunchtime.
Damn.
Just
Wow.
just playing Quake and just having a good time.
And you started playing online. Like you didn't even try to play offline against the bots and stuff. You like got thrown right into excessive. You
Pretty,
mentioned, right?
pretty much right into the Excessive Plus. So I mean, if you've ever played Excessive Plus, anybody out there, you know that it's a little bit faster as far as the movements. It has pretty much instant reload time. Like when you do the rail, there's no reload lag or whatever you want to call it. Uh, Pretty much you have like this thing called infinite jumps to where you can jump in the air as many times as you want. So think of Doom, but Doom on steroids because you get more than one jump after the initial jump.
I didn't play much of that, but it sounds like a good time.
Yeah, well, hey, get you a couple people in the server, play some freeze tag or some TDM, throw maybe some capture flag once in a while. I mean, hey,
Yeah. What's funny about Quake 3 is like I still have it installed on my computer and still have the same config. I could probably jump into the servers that I used to play on, and there are like diehard Quake 3 people that are still playing.
yeah, I figured there were probably still a lot of people who never wanted to convert over to Quake Live, which I play a little bit of that as well. And I feel like Quake Live's mission was, hey guys, let's try to get everybody from these different mods and combine them all together, so we're not all, you know, everywhere across the spectrum of mods. And in a way, I don't know if they really succeeded at that.
Before we talk about the failures or successes of Quake Live, I wanted to just take a step back and go back to Quake 3 Arena and just talk about a couple of things. 'Cause that's where it really started getting serious for me, or where I started being more competitive. Like I'd actually joined a clan and competed and capture the flag tournaments, stuff like that. That's where it began for me. But like I know I played a lot of capture the flag. That was my favorite mod in Quake 3 Arena, and I put a ton of hours into that. And before I really started taking it to the next level, I saw, a few players like just getting around the map like way faster than anyone else. And I didn't know about Quake's movement engine and the way that you can actually strafe jump and rocket jump and use your speed to your advantage to essentially be a better player. There was this whole subculture inside of Quake called tricking, and like maps were dedicated to like getting across impossible distances and impossible areas in like the quickest amount of time. And I know you said we discussed this like before we actually started recording, but like that also holds like a special place in my heart. I know you just like to get down and kill people, but at the same time,
like the good old days of FPS Doug, when I get a gun in my hand, it just points it straight at somebody's head, and it's just like boom, headshot. That's basically how it went for me in Quake, because to be honest with you, in Excessive, there was a lot of strafe jumping due to the unlimited jumps you had in the mod.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I didn't do it. I mean, you could still strafe jump, and I do recall doing a bit, but not at the level I do now. Rocket jumping, obviously, if you have infinite jumps, rocket jumping was really not much of a thing. I mean, you could clear gaps faster, things like that, but the movement was kind of, I don't know really how to describe it in Excessive Plus, but
You didn't really have to focus on it.
no, it's more or less. I mean, I think you focus more on your aim in that mod more than what your movement was. It's more about what your aim was, because I mean, my real accuracy wasn't all that great. Probably like in the mid 30s, which I think that's about average now. I always thought it was kind of a crappy average, but apparently that's a good one now.
Yeah, pretty good. You actually pulled up some stats, the current stats.
Oh, speaking of current
the Quake
stats,
the Quake Champions stats. You actually have a higher aim percentage than me.
yeah, and
But
someone has about twice the game time that I do. As
yeah,
I can,
I got about 2 weeks play time. You got about five days,
about
something like
yeah, it's almost 6 now. But let's listen to the unholy trinity stats here.
that.
Let's see, rocket launcher. I have 40%. You have 38.
Okay,
Light
that's pretty close.
lightning gun. I have 32. You have 29.
Okay.
Railgun. I have 39. You have 31.
Now, how about you scroll to the very top of the page?
Okay, very top.
Look at that rank. What rank are you?
Let's see. Well, right now my dual rank, I'm currently unranked, but I was gold 5. I got to do another 2 matches to get that rank back. And my 2v2 is gold 4, but yeah,
You lost that.
that's a big another topic about my dueling.
Now, see, I'm currently a diamond 1, and I'm very proud of that. I wish I was deeper into the diamond, but fought hard to get out of like silver and gold up to that rank. And I guess that across the spectrum of Quake players, I would say that we're both above average. So I wouldn't quite consider us pro players or anything like that, but
No,
we can
I
throw
mean,
down.
I would
We
say
can
I'm
throw down.
slightly above average. So I mean, so that goes into another question. So is duel going to be your favorite mode now?
So I wasn't a huge dueler back in like the Quake 3 arena days. But I guess I was forced to become a dueler because that's the most competitive mode that's currently out right now in Quake Champions. So I've been waiting patiently over a year for Capture the Flag, and knowing that it's right around the corner is super exciting to me.
My Quake 3 experience is the same. Like I said, I played TDM and I played Freeze Tag a lot. I had a clan and we did play very competitively until certain people thought I wasn't playing enough and just decided to kick me out. But oh well,
What
I made another
what
clan to beat that clan. Either way, I won regardless of what happened.
Nice. What clan was that?
That clan was called Hell Knights.
Hell Knights.
Yep, Hell
And
Knights HK. That was back when Quake 3, in Quake 3 you used to have the colors that would kind of fade in and out if you wanted to. It was black and red. That's my favorite colors. So it would just say HK pulsating. It looked awesome, but hopefully Quake Champions eventually adds that in because we need clan tags ASAP.
yeah, we need to, give us some creative power over, how our names look. That's something I definitely miss about that part of Quake.
Yep,
So
yeah, me too. Because right now, I'm glad I got the name I have now as far as Slip goes. Because it could be worse. I could be Justin, which is my real name. It sounds kind of boring. Speaking of Slip, the way I got this name back in 2001, which was Xbox Live when it started, I was a huge Slipknot fan. And I was like, man, I kind of want to put that in my name because it's the only thing I can think of right now. And I'm a gamer. So let's just say Slipknot Gamer. And it made sense at the time. Like I said, at this time I was probably like in elementary school.
it rolls off the tongue nicely.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue at the time, and a lot of people did like it. And people back then would call me Slip for short, obviously, because nobody wants to say, "Hey, Slipknot Gamer." It's too long to say.
Way too many syllables.
Yes, yes, it is.
even if it's typing.
Yes. So it was like when it was time for me to make a Quake name, I was like, I don't really want to go with the same thing, and I was like, everybody calls me Slip for short on Xbox, so let's just do that. And then basically I've been that name forever. And I'm sorry for the guy who's in Spain. I think he's kind of a pro player named Slip. I think he's from Spain. I don't know how long he's been playing. I've never met you before, so sorry if I've took your name.
I have actually a very similar contradiction with my name, and I get flack for it all the time. So I need to set the record straight right now. This is my platform. I'm about to talk about this story, and I guarantee that I was unkind before the unkind. So just as a bit of a background, there was a pro player, probably the best in the world, at Quake 3. There's plenty of YouTube videos. You can Google Unkind Quake 3. There's some epic matches out there. He's Russian. So there's, you know, we compete quite a bit and get streamed on Twitch. And, you know, every so often, you know, somebody will that's in the chat will see that Unkind is playing and is like, is that Unkind? And I'm like, yeah, that's Unkind. But they're expecting it to be the Russian Unkind. But I'll tell you a bit about how I got that name. Back in I want to say like middle school, I saw somebody like draw it on paper, like tag it basically in like a creative way. And I was like, you know what? I like that. I'm gonna start doing that too. And, you know, that was around the time when I started playing online games, and I used that name because I used to draw that word in so many different ways on paper all the time. And that's the origins of how I got the name Unkind.
So basically, we've both stolen a pro player's name.
I didn't. I can guarantee you that Quake did not exist at the time when I made up the name Unkind, and I didn't even know that there was an Unkind until like YouTube came out. And
To be fair, I didn't know there was a Slip until Quake Champions came out.
oh wow, okay.
And then I heard some people talking about Slip. I think he's in the QOL actually. I was like, huh, I didn't sign up for that.
Yeah, I was a little bit salty when the beta for Quake Champions came out, the closed beta, and I tried to get just Unkind as my name, and I saw that somebody was sitting on it, and they haven't played on the account since that name was created, like in the very, very early days. So like the second that I can get the one off of my name, I've sort of, you know, grown into Unkind One, and I enjoy it. It kind of adds like another level to it. So I've always gone by both. Like whenever Unkind is not available, I'll just
Unkind.
Yeah.
Well,
Unkind.
I mean, that's kind of the same with me. You know, I tried to Slip. Nope, denied. Try saying the Quake denied. I had to go with Slip 2405 because I actually renamed my Xbox Live name to Slip 2405 after I got tired of Slipknot Gamer looking at it. And 2405 is just mine and my son's birthday. So
Okay.
actually, a lot of people will probably know me as Slip 2405. But as soon as we got that name change for the Quake Champions, I forgot how much it was, like $10 or whatever, I just went ahead and did Slip with all the spaces because that person still has that Slip name and I can't get it. So I had to make some sacrifices and just go by S space L space I space P.
So we're both waiting for that second that it becomes available. We should just switch over and take over our rightful names.
I think so, but at this point, I don't know if they're going to do a name reset unless they do it when it goes full, like out of early access.
Yeah,
They might do that.
I spoke to Mortal Emperor about this a couple months ago, and he hinted at like them basically doing a sweep of players that are inactive, so that would open up, you know, the possibilities for people who are just sitting on names.
Well, you know, another good idea they could do, which it wouldn't be that hard, is kind of like they do in Discord, where everyone has like a little number by their name. So you could have like 50 slips, but all of them are going to have different numbers. Like in game, you're going to see me a slip, but if you go to my profile, it'll say slip with a pound sign, then whatever my numbers are.
Yep.
So I mean, I think that would be also a great idea. So I mean, and just do it free and just don't charge people to change your name.
Yeah, Bethesda, this guy has $1 million ideas. Listen to him.
I need the money, please.
All right. Let's get back to, I guess, the timeline here, and we'll move on quickly from here. But I just wanted to mention what clan I was in back in the Quake 3 days, who I competed for. Area 51. Have you ever heard of them?
Like I said, if it wasn't in excessive, I probably never heard of you.
Okay, well, that's all good. That's the clan that I was in. there were some heavy hitters at the time in the scene part of that clan. I know, there were a lot of people who jumped from clan to clan, but I remember a few people at the time that stood out, and I wonder if they actually, ever made it over to Quake Champions. I would love to get back in contact with them.
So if you're
But
listening,
yeah,
people, get back into Quake
Yep.
Champions.
yeah. So yeah, after Quake 3 Arena, obviously, and all of the various mods that came along with that, we could probably, talk about that as a whole separate podcast topic one day. But the next game that came out several years later, via the browser, was actually Quake Live. And I think we both played the earlier version of Quake Live when it actually lived in the browser before it moved over to Steam.
Yes, yeah, that's correct. Like I said, I played it for a bit because at the time I hadn't played Quake in a while. I took a break from it, and I was like, oh, and then somebody said, hey, check out this Quake Live. I was like, what is it? I was like, oh, it's a web-based version. They're going to add all the mods together, and it's just going to be easier to get everybody together and have matches and stuff like that. So I played it for a while, and I had some fun, and then went through some personal issues, had personal relationship problems. And I just kind of got away from gaming in general. So by the time I came back, Quake Champions was already coming out, and Quake Live had already moved to Steam, and so I was like, I just never went back to it at that point.
Yeah, I never really played much of the Steam version of Quake Live. So, like for me, I think it was announced at E3. There was a trailer made for Quake Champions a couple of years back, and like I got so hyped when I saw that trailer. I think I set the date. I followed all of the social media channels, and finally, like the day they said we are gonna open the invites up to the community to essentially beta test the game, and that was over a year ago, almost a year and a half ago. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
quite a while.
Yeah, I've been playing this game for a while.
Well, I mean,
I've been playing.
I played the beta as well, but at that point, my Quake skills was very, very rusty, and
It was hard to play the beta. It was
yes,
trash. Like the what you fire a rocket, it wouldn't like shoot until like a second later. It took a couple of
and then
months.
the abilities thing was like, oh God, what is this? An Overwatch clone?
Yeah.
So that's what it felt like to me at the time. I played a little bit of Overwatch. Like, okay, these guys are trying to compete with Overwatch in a way, and I kind of just threw it off the back burner at that point, and then I picked it back up, and I kind of regret it.
What brought you back?
It's by a fellow by the name of D-Ron. Some of you guys might know him as Dijon because he used to use a J as for an R, I think it was, and everybody said, "Is that your name, Dijon?" He was like,
Fun fact.
It's D-Ron, but I couldn't really use that name." But yeah, me and him know each other in real life. We live near each other, about 20 minutes away. And he's like, "Man, you got really good Quake Champions, man. It's really good. It's gotten better." Because I told him about my beta experience. He's like, "It's pretty good, man. You need to play it." I was like, "All right, I'll give it a shot." And I got it.
And that's how we met, actually.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And it still took me a while to get used to the abilities and trying to get back into that strafe jumping and the movement of it because I'd not played it in so long. So it took me well over a month to get back into it. And that was probably around, let's see, this past December, actually. This past December, they had it on sale on Steam, and I bought it then.
So basically, that was right around the time we met. So you were pretty much coming in as a brand new player because I bet it felt like a completely new game when you came back to it.
Oh yeah, yeah. It felt a lot better, for sure. Like I said, I still got frustrated with it because like my kill death was like maybe 2 and 15 or something like that. I'm like, oh God, why am I even trying this game? Because I have not played a FPS like this in 7+ years at that time. It was bad.
And you've gotten a lot better since then. I can attest to that. for sure.
Yeah, I mean, not too shabby, not too shabby. People talk about my orbs because I'm main ranger because that is my favorite champion by far. And people's like, man, this guy's got Dewey orbs, and I kind of feel bad because I'm like, who's Dewey? I don't know this man, but I guess this is a compliment. Because like I said, at the time when I played Quake 3, I didn't keep up with the pros at that time. So a lot of these people are just like, oh man, that guy played Quake 3 back in the day. I'm like, I didn't really keep up with the pros back then, so I don't know who they are. So I don't feel insulted if I don't know who you are. Like, I mean, if you're a good player, you're a good player. But sometimes I didn't really follow the whole pro scene a lot at the time.
Yeah, I didn't really either. And that was probably just because of where I've come from. I didn't know about the Twitch platform and how many like pro gamers actually stream there. But ever since I have discovered it, it's been one of my favorite things to do, just to like kill time, see how pro players play, how they interact with their audience and their fans, and just seeing the production quality that some of these streamers have with their channels.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. But let me say this. I may be young and I may be labeled as a millennial, but I don't keep up with a lot of these new things like Twitch because I just started watching Twitch probably about a month or so after I downloaded Quake Champions again back in December. So, I've not been around Twitch very long, and then I had to go back on Twitter because apparently everybody on Quake Champions uses Twitter, so I had to re-get back into that and figure out how that works because I don't know about these hashtags and things like that.
We got to rely on that, like with this game. Like they took away the easiest main social aspect of like being able to set up a server and sit in the lobby, and it's not a lobby. It's just basically sit and spectate and chat with people.
Yeah, basically, because they don't have dedicated servers anymore, which with the way this game is set up, it's kind of hard to do dedicated servers. I know a lot of people want them back, and I do miss them from time to time. But I mean, with the way this format on Quake Champions is now, I don't really see. I mean, you could do it if you wanted to, but I think the matchmaking kind of makes more sense for with the way they're going with Quake Champions now.
Yeah, I agree.
Speaking of favorite champs, I said I liked Ranger. I think you were a Doomslayer, man.
Oh yeah, you could see by far I play Doomslayer.
Yes, you look at my stats. Let me see here. 67% of my time has been played as Ranger. And one of my favorite things to do is like when a Doom double jumps, he hangs in the air for that split second. And you just throw that orb just right, and then just watch the guts splatter across the arena.
That's why I ban that dude every chance I get in a competitive setting.
And that is a whole nother podcast of why people want to ban Ranger. Some people won't even want to take the telefrag completely out of the game. And in a way, I kind of see what they're saying. Cause I know it's kind of a sort of a cheap move, but the way they've kind of punished it, I think in a couple patches ago they nerfed him back.
It's like an easy button, man. It's like all you got to do is press F, spacebar, whatever you got to bind it to, and depending on your skills,
I press spacebar to win, sir.
All right. Regardless of the fact, if you're right next to somebody, and granted, you probably shouldn't be in a Ranger's face anyway.
That's a bad idea. Or if you try to follow him up a jump pad, that's a bad idea.
But the worst thing I hate about playing a Ranger is like you could have full item control on a map, like be stacked to capacity, have every single weapon, have a Ranger trapped like dead in your sights, and one orb can erase all that in like a millisecond. That's why I ban it.
You know what Ranger says? He says, "I know a good Slipgate to shove you in." And that's just how it rolls. And to be fair though, ever since that last nerf they had a couple patches ago, it is very hard not to orb someone like that at full stack and kill them. Like right now, 9 times out of 10, I have to either get a good rocket where I'm going to have to, do a little bit LG damage and then go in with the orb, because that'll usually finish you off every time. It's very, very difficult to get that one hit orb with no other damage from another weapon. It still can be
Yeah.
done. It's hard. It's very hard.
I'm glad that nerf came, and I think enough people will have spoken to get it nerfed again. I think.
Well, I mean, there are the people that are wrong, and then you got the people that are right, and those people are wrong. That's just plain and simple. I mean, you got to look at other people. I mean, like Death Knight, for example. That
Oh
guy,
yeah,
or BJ, Death Knight or BJ.
Death Knight is even worse than Ranger, but because Ranger can also teleport to wherever he throws his orb, that's reason enough to ban him whenever you can.
See, I'm more of a Nyx banner, because I cannot stand that thing. Let's go invisible, and let's not be able to do any damage to you. And then you sit there and rail me in the back, or you hit me with some LG in the back, or something like that.
Poof!
That's not right. That I cannot. That's one thing I cannot stand, is going invisible and I cannot damage you. I wish they could do something with that ability to, like, whether if it's reduced damage or if it's like a pulsate, like, she appears for 1 second, disappears for a second, appears for a second, something like that.
That's a good idea. Or just like partial invisibility. That could be an interesting idea.
Or that, or even like with Ranger. If I'm throwing that orb across the map at you, you can still do damage to me until I teleport to that orb, because you have seen several times where I can throw the orb and still die as I'm throwing it.
Oh yeah. If that's the thing with Ranger, like if you throw that orb and you miss, you could punish him for it. Like, because there's like this flash that basically takes over the screen, and if the Ranger is not facing the player, it's disorienting, and you can kill him instantly. So
basically, Ranger's playing as a handicap.
I don't know about that.
He's playing as a handicap. He goes partially blind, and so if you can't beat him, that's not his fault.
Anyway,
I mean, so I know you're going to keep banning Ranger, and I guess I'll keep banning Nyx, even though you probably don't play Nyx. I know you don't play her that much, but
she's in my lineup for duel. I like playing Nyx. She's got. I like her ability, but I would say for me, like, second in line is Visor.
There's a bunch of people who don't like Visor. That's just wall hacks happening.
Yeah.
That's actually a legitimate cheat back in Quake 3. That's actually a legitimate ability now.
It's temporary, so.
I mean, yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, it was like Strogger Peeker. I mean, Strogger Peeker's the same way. You can throw Peeker up and everybody can see your location on the map if you're playing like TDM or whatever. But
so how many champs are we up to now? 13?
Yes, I think so.
So I think, given that there's 13 champs, there's all of these abilities, all of these different movement styles, all of these passive abilities, I think they're pretty good at balancing across the game. What's your thought on that?
I agree. I mean, there's always a counter to, well, usually always a counter to every other champ's abilities. Like with Ranger, I mean, I don't really know what you can counter with Ranger besides just trying to keep your distance. I mean, there are some people who can throw that orb way out there and still get you, but I don't really like Visor. I guess his ability would be just to make him pop it early, or counter him with another Visor. I mean, you can see him, he can see you. So Nyx, see Visor, and I think Clutch, right? Clutch can see her invisible
with a shield.
So yeah, I mean, overall, yeah, they have a pretty good balance as far as, except for like BJ and Death Knight, which their counter to a BJ is another BJ, Death Knight to another Death Knight. So, but hopefully, more champs, people might get away from those. But a lot of people just play the meta. That's how it goes.
Yep. I like the nature of counterbalancing, specific champions, or there's going to be stronger champions in certain modes than others, and that's just the nature of having 13, 15 promised by the end of this year champions in a game.
Yeah, now this is a leak. I'm not going to say it's true or not, but I have heard that we are getting Hunter very soon. And I think apparently, I don't know if it's the actual champion's name or maybe like a class he's going to be called Engineer, which I'm assuming Engineer is going to probably be like, okay, I'm going to set out turrets on the map or something along those lines, what it sounds like to me. Or I like to see if they do that to balance out Galena, having another champ that can lay down something to give armor. She gives health, have another champ give armor.
Oh, yeah, that would be interesting. I didn't even think about that one.
I mean, because if that happens, then when you play a team-based game, everybody's going to be those two champs. So you're constantly healing and redoing your armor constantly. And then I'm sure everybody's going to hate the idea I just gave. But, I mean, hey, if it wins you the game, it wins you the game. That's the way I look at it.
Everyone's going to have an opinion.
Yes, I mean, everybody has opinions, just like everybody has assholes. So that's what this podcast is about. You're just listening to two assholes give their opinions on this game.
Oh man! So, I guess as far as Quake Champions goes, what mode do you play the most? What's your favorite mode?
As far as the live build goes, I would probably say TDM. I do like when they added the Unholy Trinity arcade mode. That was pretty fun, but it's just really chaotic at the live version, which is another reason why I'm glad in PTS they added the TDM Unholy Trinity, because it might not be so like I'm getting railed from 5 different angles and I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah. So with TDM, do you like 4v4 or 2v2?
4v4. 2v2, you have to have a really good partner, and you have to play a lot of it. So usually when we do 2v2, we're losing because I'm going my way, he's going his way, and we just don't communicate as much as we should.
Oh yeah, communication is key with that mode. It's a very hard mode to play, especially if you're having to call out like literally every single piece of information you can give to your partner.
Yeah, I mean, because we all can't be, Liquid, Rafa, and Dehang. We all can't be that phenomenal at the 2v2.
They are crazy together.
I mean, and the intensity, you hear Rafa just yelling in the microphone, like, of item timing and damage and position, I mean, hey, I like it. I like watching it. I just can't compete on that level.
Yeah, they 100% deserve to be in the spot that they're in. They've put in the hours of practice and scrimmages and working together to be the team to beat. And I don't know any 2 players that can beat them.
No, I mean, you look at QuakeCon, and there was a few matches there where Liquid might have got behind at the beginning, but they quickly turned it around. And just to dog on EU a little bit here, I know a lot of you guys were saying, let's wait for the duel, let's wait for the duel. Well, duel wasn't happening at the time. It was 2v2, and you got beat.
Oh, man. So, for me, I would have to say, and this is because I'm still waiting on Capture the Flag, is I duel quite a bit. I like the competitive nature of it. I mean, I can do deathmatch, a team deathmatch, and I'm usually in first place or top 2 or 3 in most modes that I play. But when you go to duel, especially the Quake Champions duel format, it's just a whole nother level of the game, and I truly appreciate the format of it. And I've also played the traditional duel format where there's a set time limit, and you get one champion essentially to use throughout the duration of that time, and the person who has the most frags wins. But the round based nature, the abilities, having to time the items, and play certain champions in a certain order, that's something I can truly appreciate. And I'm not perfect at it, but I've been working at it for months to get from, I would say, like a silver status. I was a gold for a long time, and when they did the stats reset, I ranked up to diamond, and I dipped back down to gold 4 a couple of weeks ago, but I quickly got back up to diamond, and now I'm gonna try to hold that and keep on climbing up the ranks.
It sounds like a lot of frustration. Because for me, duel is a lot of frustration. I feel like I play better than the guy. I feel like I run the map better than the guy, and this dude just gets these lucky rockets, lucky rails to me. I'm like, oh God, please.
It's all about positioning, man.
It's all about just getting lucky. No, I mean, duel for me, I just get so frustrated. It's like, I get tilted very easily. Not as much as I used to. I would say I'm a probably solid mid gold dueler if I did it every day or like every other day, which is my problem. I might duel like once every week or once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't really hold myself up to a higher standard because I'm not putting the time in. And that's what everybody will tell you. You got to put the time in to get better. And as far as with duel goes, I just I don't see me especially with the PTS that's out now. I don't see dueling much in my future.
And that's okay. I mean, there's plenty of modes out there for all of the different types of players, and I can even say so myself. Like, I have a family, I have a full-time job. I don't have the hours available to put in to get to that elite rank. I'm really happy with where I'm at with the amount of time that I can actually dedicate to the game.
Same here. I got a family. I got a full time job. So I look at Quake I try to look at Quake as a fun game. And for me, duel is just so, like I said, frustrating. It takes the fun out of the game from us. Like, why use that little bit of time I have to get frustrated at the game when I can just say, you know what, I'll play a different game mode and I'll have more fun.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
And I just like playing the Koth. A lot of people. I mean, if you don't know what the Koth is, the King of the Hill, Jahar, aka Tasty Spleens, usually does this every Friday, unless he's like casting something or possible internet outage. Something.
I look
like
forward to that every single week. I think I've been in the King of the Hill for close to a year now, and that's also a way that I think I've gotten better at duel. Like, to be casted in front of hundreds of people and like critiqued by people who've never seen you play, and basically, I don't know how many weeks in a row I lost the very first match, and I didn't even win a round for I don't know how many months straight. It was probably until the ranking system actually came out, but that's a great way for anyone who's interested in duel to get better, to watch the games that you've actually played and have people give you live feedback.
And I think you'll probably go down in history as the Baron Bruce double tri-bolt.
Oh, get out of here!
Yeah, a lot of people were giving you flack for that. I mean,
I missed that guy.
Yeah, he hasn't been around a while. I don't know where he disappeared to. I know he's on Discord once in a while, playing something different. But I remember, like, the very next week, I go in and OD's like, "Is that guy got killed by that double tri-bolt?" And then this was before the tri-bolt.
Relax.
I'm just saying that was before the tri-bolt was actually decent.
Yeah.
Now, so I had to correct him. It's like, no, that was not me. I did not get killed by a double tri-bolt.
All right. You got one. You got me there. So yeah, in addition to like King of the Hill, some of the other things that we've participated in the past are the Quake Open League, QOL. That's a monthly league in which they've got 2 different pools, actually 4 if you consider the European versions, but they've got the Elite for North America and Europe, and then they've got the Challenger version for for both continents. And basically, I think that what the format is, they ask for people to sign up. They get assigned to a pool, and it's basically 4 to 5 players that take turns beating the crap out of each other until the playoffs come.
Yeah, I had some experience with QOL, and that's not a bad format. Uh, on the other end of the spectrum, like I said, I was never much of a hardcore dueler, so I kind of got a little bit frustrated. It's like, oh, I'm the only silver guy. Everybody else is like gold 4 and above, and here I am just getting dominated by these dudes. And I don't blame the format at all, because like it's my fault. I didn't really take duel seriously. So just forewarn people, if you don't take duel seriously,
You might get your ass kicked.
Yes. So if you can't handle that, you might want to get your dueling skills better.
That's what King of the Hill is for. Like you want to get your feet wet, get some feedback from people. Or there's a couple of other streamers who have noob friendly tournaments. 40 Lions, shout out to him. He's got his own thing going. He's changed the name of it a few times.
40, I think it's 40's Dens now. 40's Den.
Yeah, and he switches off between duel and 2v2.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's very friendly. It's very fun to watch him cast these things. Talking about give everybody a little tickle, things like that. So if you do want to watch something kind of fun and entertaining, definitely go to that guy's channel and give that a watch, or participate, whichever one you prefer to do.
Yeah, I've been following him for close to a year now, and to see his production and the quality of his stream, and he's starting he is casting now, for tournaments and stuff like that. Just to see him grow as a streamer and a caster has been a pleasure to watch. So check him out.
Yeah, and like I said, there's plenty of other people to check out too. You could check out, see a girl named Maggie. She does really good. If you want to watch a pro, Rafa or Dang. As far as NA players go, I don't really follow much EU players. Sorry, guys. There's Death, Frothy Omen. He's definitely watch his YouTube videos. He definitely helps with tutorials. Kind of explains strafe jumping, rocket jumping. He actually explains champions individually, like how to play Ranger, how to play Visor. Let's see who else out there. There's Squeeze Toy. There's Dad Ash. There's Z Live. There's my main man, Devious. I like this man. We always call him Mr. Sir. And if you don't know who he is, you need to go look him up, because he's fun to watch.
Yeah, those are like I can echo all of those people. Those are the main folks who are they stream on a regular basis, and they're all fun to watch.
Yes, I definitely agree with that.
So what do we got next here? Let's talk a little bit about they recently opened up the public test server, PTS. I don't know if you heard Slip mention that earlier in the podcast, but there's a version of the Quake Champions build that goes out before the next patch, and it's just an opportunity to fine tune things and basically get a preview of what's to come for Quake Champions. And the most recent one that came out last week was it included a few new modes. The main one, Slipgate.
Yes, sir.
No pun intended.
That's the best mode in the world right now. Is Slipgate.
If you could describe Slipgate, for someone who is not familiar with it, how would you describe that mode?
Well, to old Quake 3 players, or old veterans, it's pretty much clan arena with an objective, sort of. Open the Slipgate or attack the Slipgate. If you're very brand new to Quake, period, so you don't know what Clan Arena is, it's basically a 4v4, a single elimination, meaning that if you die, you die. There's no respawns. Everyone starts with the same weapons. You got all the weapons. One team defending a Slipgate to get it. It has like a little timer, or well, not really a timer. It's like a bar that fills up. Your objective is to let that bar fill up. The team attacks. Your objective is to either kill the team or stop the Slipgate from opening. Or you can just do like what I do. Just try to kill the other team where you're attacking and defending. It's fun either way.
That works. Yeah, I played it quite a bit of Slipgate. It's new to me. I've heard it compared to a mode in Counter Strike where you're like trying to defuse the bomb. You're taking turns trying to defend or defuse a bomb.
Yeah, I think I saw that on 40's stream the other night. He says, I think he called it Quake CS or CS Quake. I wasn't never much of a Counter Strike guy, so I was like, okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, maybe it'll bring some Counter Strike players over to Quake.
I think it'll definitely bring a lot of some of your veteran Quake players that are holding out on Quake Champions, because a lot of those guys wanted Clan Arena, something very similar to Clan Arena, and this is the closest thing we got.
Yeah, I like the mode. It forces you to take your time a bit, and not just like plus forward and rush at your opponent, because you only get one life, and if you die, then you're watching your team. you gotta root from the sidelines.
Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much how it is, and it's only a 2-minute time limit. So I mean, you got to play. Well, for now, they could change when it goes to live, but it's like a mix between I got to move fast, but I got to think about where I'm going and move with my teammates. You can't really do it like a lone wolf style, because if you do, more than likely you're going to get killed.
Yep. And I think was that earlier today or yesterday? we were playing together, and I had the brilliant idea to just go off on my own and rush, and I got hammered.
Well, I think that one map in Ruins, you kind of rush to the other side of the map, and we're like, okay, where are you at? And then everybody on our team's dead, and we're like, oh, that guy rushed way over there. He's on the other side of the map now.
Yeah, so the time ran out, and we lost. I'll learn how to play that mode over time. It's still early.
Yeah, it's still early, and I do know they added some new arcade modes, but I have to be fair, and I have not tried them yet because I'm too busy playing Slipgate.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, I know one of them they took Unholy Trinity, if you know what that is, where it's the Rocket, Rails, and LG only, and made it to a TDM mode. I know they added that, like make it less chaotic, and they added one mode with Scale Bear. I'm not sure what the.
Oh yeah, there was two other modes that are only available in custom. It was Swinger Party, which is we didn't even talk about the new champion. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Athena, the new champion, she's got a hook ability where she can. She's got 3 charges that can get recharged with the time shards on the map, and essentially throw a hook to a pretty far distance and be pulled in that direction and basically swing across the map all over the place. So imagine an Instagib version where they're all Athena, and that hook is also a weapon. You can basically kill somebody with it. So I've seen some streamers play, and it looks like a good time.
Yeah, she's definitely a different champion. Like a lot of you guys that played Quake 2, if you did, you probably love her because of the grapple that was in Quake 2. She in Slipgate, I think depending on how you play her, she could be good, but I think she's going to definitely fall more under the capture the flag game type, because you can use her ability to move across the map really quick and get that capture.
Yep. And I guess speaking of some of the things that may be coming in the future for Quake Champions, whether they're leaked or not, or they were promised, what are you looking forward to most? I've already mentioned what I'm looking forward to most. CTF, obviously.
I think earlier I mentioned too the Zero. I'm ready to see Zero in this game. I mean, because if you remember Quake 3, he was the guy that kind of brought all the champions together to fight in combat, so he could finally find someone that can compete on his level. So you can't
he's
make
the end guy, the boss.
Yeah, he's like the main, he's like the villain of the game, sort of. So you can't have a an arena shooter and not have him. You can't do it. You got to have him. So I'm ready for him. I'm ready for Klesk, if a lot of people know who Klesk is, and Uriel. Uh, Other than the champs, I'm ready to see some more bigger maps, like the new map Citadel, which I never forgot to mention. It's set up for capture the flag, obviously, but it plays good in Slipgate as well.
It is huge.
Yes, I am ready for more maps like that, even though I'm not the best railer in the world. You know, my railgun's not as good as I wish it was, but it just makes the game much more fun because you have so many different options that you can take on these bigger maps. So definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, same here. For me, as far as champions go, Hunter. When in Quake 3, that was the model that I chose. So I can't wait to see abilities and passive and active abilities added to a champion like that. And as far as like game modes go, besides capture the flag, I hope that they keep on adding arcade modes. It would be awesome if, for like a winter update, they added freeze tag.
Yes.
People love that mod. It's a ton of fun.
I think it's fun, but a lot of your more hardcore guys are like, man, it's too casual. But I think you can make freeze tag in competition because you can still. I think what Quake Champions needs a little bit of. We need more team-based competition, and I'm hoping with Slipgate, CTF, maybe freeze tag. I'm hoping we're going to see some more team-based competition. I mean, that's what I'm looking for.
Yep. So, and I guess, no, as far as, like what's to come in the game, we got to save some content for, for the future. I mean,
Yeah,
we could talk about this game for hours and hours on end, but, I don't know. Do you think we forgot about anything that we should include in the very first episode of this podcast that can't wait until the next one?
I've looked over what we wrote down for this episode, kind of the highlight points. I think we've kind of covered most of the basics here, and I think this turned out to be a really good first episode. And
yeah, I agree, man.
Very looking forward to the next one. Speaking of which, we're hoping to do this bi-weekly, which I got confused by that. That means every 2 weeks. We're going to maybe try to experiment with a live stream on Twitch eventually if we get enough followers that really want to see that. Maybe do
play some games with you guys.
Yeah, play some games.
As we're casting or
podcasting. Speaking of casting, we're gonna, if we get enough people interested, we're gonna maybe try to do some host our own tournaments. Maybe Slipgate goes live soon. Maybe we might try to host something like that for teams to come and play. We'll cast, and I'll probably be horrible at it, but we'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, and we're hoping to get some influencers of the community to be guest hosts and have some amazing conversations with them and learn a bit of their secrets as well.
Yes, I'm in talks with some people. I'm not going to say names, but we're going to hopefully have a few special guests come on here. We'll talk about different topics and things like that, and hopefully you guys will enjoy it.
Yep. But I think that about covers it.
Yeah, I can't think of any other way to wrap up the State of Quake episode 1. Any other final words?
No, you usually have these awesome one-liners that you just they seem to roll off the tongue. Do you think you can cue one of those up?
I think I maybe can cue up a little bit of sore lag. Tasty. Let's find out how it tasted soon.
All right. And with that, guys, we'll see you next time on the State of Quake.
Keep on fragging.
See ya. Bye-bye.